Okay, nobody seems to give people before Darwin, Charles Darwin, much credit for supposing that animals will look different in different environments. Reading into this book more a history of the sciences, written in the early '60s, we have a guy named Hilaire. Okay, I don't know. I can see it. He talks about how he presumes that the that there's variation in animal forms with physical that has to relate to the physical environment. But he goes on to talk about the differences between the spine and like the crab's exoskeleton and how they're kind of similar, I believe. How they developed. He talked about, yeah, you fuse your spine together in similar ways. The crabs will fuse together in similar ways to mammals. Okay, so he would talk about that, and yeah, the environment is going to have some impact. The animals will adapt to particular environments and fuse their bones and stuff in different ways for the environment. The ways that they're fused together for a particular environment is going to be they're going to determine whether the animal dies out or goes on to live. So there's that approach. But yeah, Darwin he got more press coverage, and it could be just simply the evolution of the species types of things. He approached it in a different way in the 1860s, with that giraffe model we always see. As a tree gets taller, the giraffe's neck gets longer. I don't know if he suggested that. He didn't study giraffes, though. He studied those birds on the Galapagos Islands, I believe. So he was talking about how some birds eat certain seeds on one island, and the same kind of finch eats another kind of seed in another, and there are slight variations because, yeah, Hilaire never really went to these islands, so his approach was possibly a little more abstract. Um, so there's that. There are people before Darwin, though. I mean, it's not like boom, it exploded. Darwin just comes out with a crazy notion that the origin of the species that we've evolved from monkeys and all that. There were people who have had their suspicions about that, but maybe they just didn't put it together as nicely as Darwin was able to, or maybe just Darwin had a better marketing team. But yeah, either way, Hilaire, he was around and he wrote in the 1820s. So he was a good couple of generations before Darwin in the 1860s. So there's there's a progression. That's why it's a history of the sciences. Science progressed over time. Beliefs progressed over time, and it's hard to say whether some got better or worse because these guys are trying to classify the animals into like the phyto and kingdoms and species and all that. It does. That's for scientific study only, but that didn't really matter to the Indians or other cultures. It's like, this one's good to eat. There's particular thing we can make threading needles out of this one. There's certain meats on an animal that are tastier than others. A lot of cultures didn't care about all that scientific study. They cared about practicality. These plants are, easier to eat. They're safe to eat over these other plants. Whereas, European scientists are just trying to classify plants and animals. Some were confusing, saying plants are the lower forms of animals and humans are the highest form. Um, but other cultures don't care. They just care about what's edible and what's not. I think, at least.